And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today on this Monday. You see the title of the video. We are going to talk about LeBron James and him thanking Michael Jordan for inspiration because LeBron has yet got another worthless longevity record that will not be accompanied by winning championships. So who cares? But before we do that, we are going to give shout outs to the people who gave super thanks throughout the week. And before we do that, I want to give a shout out to the channel members. Shout out to Gary, also known as G the Great One. Shout out to Adidas 20. Shout out to Dr. Les Barrett. Shout out to Dwayne S. Honor. Shout out to Thanos Snap Feminism. Shout out to Keith Brazell. Shout out to Charles Hookah. Shout out to In the Groove 56. Shout out to Vernon Lee Warren. Thank you all so much for being members of the channel. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the channel. And without further ado, let's get into the super thanks. First up, shout out to @JimmyD134. This is coming from my Patrick Bet Davis. David exposes the hypocrisy of LeBron James. And he comes through with the $2 super thanks, and he simply says, thanks. Thank you @JimmyD134. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks, and thank you for supporting the channel. Next up, shout out to @Dr3196. This is coming from my LeBron James says he could play until he's 47 years old at a high level. He said he could play 5 to 7 more years at a high level. And by high level, he means playing less and less defense while shooting more and more threes. He says, I got to bring up the famous Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who said, let silence be your goal for the most part. Say only what is necessary and be brief about it. If I was Rich Paul with a brain, I'd be calling him and pleading him to stop talking because he keeps saying things that are just completely unnecessary. That Diddy comment video was a criminally implicating evidence that he has to be regretting, and yet he keeps talking. I'll say this quote back to him borrowing from that 70s show. Oh, honey, honey, you just need to shut up, Kitty Foreman. Shout out to @the_Dr3196. Yeah, I said this on another video. Somebody needs to just take the microphone away from that guy. Rich Paul needs to hire a guy who is just going to be the microphone snatcher. Anytime the press comes up and wants to talk to LeBron James, there needs to be a hired guy who comes and intervenes and snatches the microphone from LeBron James, because this guy, he clearly cannot help himself. He clearly has no understanding that it is his mouth and his actions, but also his mouth that has diminished his respect to a level that no other superstar has had to deal with. And it's his own doing. He can't keep his mouth shut, and yet, you know, somehow he still wants to be respected. But shout out to @the_Dr3196. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks. Thanks so much for your continued support of the channel. Next up, this is coming from the same video. Shout out to @SwanDaily. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, since OnlyFans is the move for attention-seeking people, LeBron might do that after retiring. I would say even more so than LeBron. Hey, you LeBron James fanboys, that's the job for you. OnlyFans is the job for you guys. You guys who have, dedicated your life to not only protecting your king, but dedicated your life to watching content to which you know you're not gonna like. OnlyFans is a job for you. Shout out to @SwanDaily. Thanks so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. Next up is coming from the same video. Shout out to @Trey04Will coming through with the $5 super thanks. He says, thanks. If you don't want to be called a liar, don't constantly tell lies. You would think that a statement like that wouldn't even have to be made, but apparently LeBron James doesn't get it, because as I've pointed out several times, for those of you who have watched the Starting Five documentary on Netflix with LeBron James and Jimmy Butler and who else was on there? The guy from Boston, Jason Tatum and Sabonis and somebody else I'm leaving off. But LeBron says in this documentary, people always think I'm lying, but I'm really not. I don't think that is a statement that I've heard any superstar have to say that. I don't think any of the greats in basketball, I haven't heard them have to make a statement that, hey, everybody always thinks I'm lying, but I'm really not. Yeah, okay. But anyway, shout out to @Trey04Will. Thanks for the $5 super thanks. Thanks so much for the continued support of the channel. Next up, this is coming from the first LeBron James fanboy files that I've done in a while, but it was long overdue. Shout out to @ThisIsRise. He comes through with the $2 super thanks. He says, bro, the mentality of a person calling someone a hater has to come from the mind of a hater. I don't feel comfortable as a man just disliking a man for no reason. They think we don't have reasons for disliking LeBron because they dislike other people for no reason. I don't ignore flopping, crying, disrespecting the greats, losing, and super teams. All character of basketball-based reasons. These weirdos don't like Kobe and Mike simply because they have a secret love affair with LeBron. It has nothing to do with character or basketball, so they are the true haters. Keep putting your foot on their necks, and one thing that you know will happen on this channel here is we will definitely keep putting the foot on the necks of these ridiculous LeBron James fanboys from all facets of life. Don't matter if you're a corporate fanboy, or if you're a street fanboy, or if you're in the mainstream media fanboy, or if you're another YouTube content creator fanboy. Yeah, you can get the business over here. But yeah, I mean, that is absolutely correct. The mentality of a person calling someone a hater has to come from the mind of a hater. I've always said this. I don't know if I've said it on this channel before or not, but to me, if you have time to call someone a hater, that means you're not doing enough with yourself. I mean, yeah, the mentality behind that is off to me. So especially the older you get. Now I can understand, the younger generation, it might be part of the slang or whatever that's used at the time. But the older you get, to me, if you still calling people haters, that's something internally wrong. But moreover, with these LeBron James fanboys, I mean, I think he called it right on the money. It's like, they are the ones who would actually dislike a person for no reason. Again, I don't know how many times we have to point out over here the reasons that LeBron James is disliked. I don't know how it can't be blatantly obviously, because there are not a bunch of channels that hate Kobe Bryant or hate Michael Jordan or hate Larry Bird or hate any of the other greats. It's just LeBron. Now, the only people who hate Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are the LeBron James fanboys. But as far as just regular basketball fans, you cannot find a channel where people are just trying to dispel myths about another player, and that is because there has been no other player like LeBron James. There hasn't been another player come into the league and just totally destroy the standards that the league was upheld to before. It hasn't happened before. There hasn't been any other player while simultaneously destroying the standards. The media is constantly telling us that this is the best thing that's ever happened. So, fanboys, if you guys had just a drop of common sense, you would be able to put two and two together real quickly. You would be able to say, hey, this is like unique. So it must be something with this guy. People aren't just hating on LeBron, but again, that is the pot calling the kettle. That is haters talking about someone else's hating. But shout out to @ThisIsRise. Thanks so much for the $2 super thanks. Thanks for the continued support of the channel. Next up, shout out to @QQ1981. This is also coming from the LeBron James fanboy files. And he simply says, LeBron James fans are simply the worst fan base in sports history, in my opinion. 100 thanks. Thank you so much for the $25 super thanks. And it's hard to disagree with that. I've tried to think of other fan bases. Some people brought up Dallas Cowboy fans, and I think Dallas Cowboy fans can be delusional, but not in this kind of way. At least not that I know of. I don't really keep up with football like that anymore. But even back in the day when I kept up with football a bit more, Dallas Cowboy fans, they got a pretty rough fan base. But again, it's nothing like this. This is like a new level. This is like a level of fan base that could only take place in the society and time that we live in. This fan base could only take place in this super entitled era that we live in, because these LeBron James fanboys actually feel entitled like LeBron. They feel entitled that because he says he's the GOAT, that everyone else should feel like he's the GOAT. Because they think he's the GOAT, everyone else should feel like he's the GOAT. So facts. Shout out to @QQ1981. Thanks so much for the $25 super thanks. Thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. And last but not least, shout out to @StoryGames8520. And this is actually coming from older video. It says, why LeBron James doesn't deserve credit for his stats. And he comes through with the $2 super thanks, and he says, this current era of players want credit for playing defense along with offense. That's why the term two-way player was coined. It is to make it seem like playing defense is optional and not expected from every player. Back in the day, it was expected for you to play both sides of the ball. Now, if you can play both sides of the ball, you are praised for it. But if you can't, then they only praise their offensive output. It's maddening. Facts, and more facts. Like I said, I think I said this in a recent video. When I first heard the term two-way player, I had no idea what it meant. I had no idea what it meant. And when I found out what it meant, it really left me scratching my head. Like, I thought basketball is offense and defense. Like, I thought that was part of the game. So to now be praising people for playing offense and defense, this is weird. But that was the first sign that the NBA, as we knew it, was no longer or was headed in a completely different direction. When they start giving you extra credit for the things that was normally just part of your job, then that is a sign that the game that we love was headed in the wrong direction, was headed into the trash can. But two-way player. And let's give something clear. LeBron James is not a two-way player. I would say he's not a two-way player because, first of all, he hadn't been a two-way player for most of his career. And even when he was a quote-unquote two-way player, like I said, LeBron James' praise for defense is highly overrated. LeBron James got praise for having a few good defensive stances. He would get praise for the block. The fanboys always like to bring up that short time he guarded D Rose. It was just a short stint. And LeBron James is like everything else in his career, everything about him gets overblown. So, he gets a block, a chase down block. They act like LeBron James invented the chase down block. But anyway, shout out to @StoryGames8520. Thank you for the $2 super thanks, and thank you so very much for your continued support of the channel. And this video is getting long, but let's get to the story at hand. We'll make this quick because I actually got a lot of Michael Jordan videos planned for this week. Fanboys, stay tuned. It's the GOAT. I'm doing a lot of videos about the actual GOAT this week. You guys should enjoy it. This article is coming from Athlon Sports. And it says, LeBron James 5-word message to Michael Jordan after historic game. There's nothing historic about that game. It says, Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James has nothing but admiration for NBA legend Michael Jordan. And what they mean is nothing but admiration for the amount of praise that Michael Jordan got. And he wants the praise that Michael Jordan got, but he doesn't understand that the praise Michael Jordan got came from the way he played the game. And LeBron never had the heart, the effort, the work ethic to put that much time into his game to get the kind of praise that Michael Jordan got. But anyway, let's continue. It says, that much is clear after James sent a message dedicated to Jordan after the Lakers forward broke one of the Chicago Bulls icons' records. On Friday against the Atlanta Hawks, James recorded 30 points. Along with 3 rebounds and 8 assists, it was his 563rd 30-point game in his career, allowing him to surpass Jordan for the most 30-point games in NBA history. I'm sure all of you fanboys are down on your knees, bowing to your king and other things. Says a day after achieving a new milestone, James took to social media to share a post with a caption referring to his airness. Says along with an image of his achievement and the video of him scoring his 29th and 30th points against the Hawks, James wrote, "Thank you for the inspiration." James also used the black cat emoji, which is in reference to Jordan. The Bulls great used to have the nickname the Black Cat. Says, for what it's worth, after LeBron James broke Michael Jordan's 30-point record on Friday, he also talked about the 6-time NBA champion with reporters and spoke of him highly. Quote, "It's very humbling. Anytime I'm mentioned with any of the greats and arguably the greatest ever to play the game, super cool." James said of Jordan, "It's someone I idolized in my childhood and I wear number 23 because of him." We're going to stop right there. So really quickly, at this point, I really find it insulting for LeBron James to even mention Michael Jordan. To be honest, it's my opinion, fanboys. Go cry in the corner. But I really find it offensive for LeBron James to even mention Michael Jordan for the simple fact that Michael Jordan is everything opposite of LeBron James. Everything that we loved about Michael Jordan that made us fans of the game, everything about Michael Jordan that grew basketball to the state where LeBron James has had the opportunity to destroy it for the last 22 years, is the opposite of what LeBron James represents. The competitiveness, the killer mentality, the will to win, the work ethic, the accountability, all of those things is not LeBron James. And so, you know, him so-called praising Michael Jordan to me is really just it's just like everything else that LeBron James does. It's just a way to actually get some eyes on himself. It's just a way for him to draw attention to himself. And it's completely ridiculous. And then really quick, let's talk about this 30-point thing. I was watching 2 Raw, and he said something that is really the absolute truth. And I feel like this really needs to be part of the criteria when we're talking about these longevity records. And that is, if you did not beat that record in the same amount of time or sooner than the player who set the record, then you didn't break the record. I mean, my goodness. You've played 7 more years than Michael Jordan, and it took you that long to catch up in 30-point games. This is not some kind of accomplishment that should be mentioned or celebrated or anything else like that. What are we doing here, people? I mean, just think about it. Let's go to the 2 extremes of the situation. Let's say a player came into the NBA and he only played 5 years and he won a championship every single year. So his rookie year, for the next 4 years after his rookie year, 5 straight championships from the moment he entered the NBA and he leaves after 5 years. And he got 5 championships. And then another player comes in the league and he plays for 30 years. And it takes him all 30 years to get the 5 championships. How could you ever compare the person who took 30 years to do what one player did in 5 straight years? In 5 years from the beginning of his career to the end of his short career, his 5-year career, he was able to get 5 championships. But you're gonna praise, LeBron finally caught such and such in championships. He got 6 championships in 40 years. Give him a round of applause. No, it took you so long to do it. It's ridiculous. Who cares that you got it? If you play that long, it's almost like you almost may get it by happenstance. You almost may get it by just being in the right place at the right time if you're still playing basketball that long. So, yeah, to me, these longevity records at this point, I really wish they would just stop mentioning them, because they're not valid to me if it took you so much longer to do it. Maybe if it took you longer to do it at all, the only way these records mean anything is if you did it in the same amount or less time than the person who set the record. But anyway, we gonna hold up here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think about any of the comments from the viewers who gave super thanks. Shout out to all of you guys again. And of course, as always, at the end of these videos, I have to say, please continue to support all of the content creators who are delivering you content with integrity and honesty. You don't have to always agree, but as long as you believe that they are being genuine in their assessment of the game, please continue to support all of these guys. Shout out to Angry Old Hoops. Shout out to Phenomenal Fitness. Shout out to Sports and Fitness Rants. Shout out to Man Down Sports. Shout out to Sports T. Shout out to 93Z. Shout out to Brandon Love Sports. Dreamers Pro. 2 Raw. Sorry. Too Raw for Sports. Who else am I leaving off? Uncut Hoops, Scap Attack, Michael Jordan Fans Are the Best, and anybody else that I can't think of at the moment. Please continue to support all of these channels. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.